All right.
Hello and welcome back to episode 7 of Wafflin Around with your host Tyler Sayuda and co-host Chris Stamos. Chris, I think today we got a pretty informative episode planned up. So if you want, we can get right into it.
Informative yet interesting. Kind of straying away from the only goalie, kind of episodes we've been doing and getting into something a little bit more everybody friendly. So, yeah, Ty, why don't you give the viewers what they're waiting on here and kind of tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, so it's the off season, right? Everybody's trying to find their team for this next year. So my thought process was let's talk a little bit about what it's like as a goalie, at least in junior hockey or looking to play college hockey, what the recruiting process is for these goalies. So if you would walk me through your experience, at least when it comes to like recruiting for like juniors, and how did you get to Davenport?
So it was interesting. Davenport was not even an option of mine when it came to school or hockey. I didn't even know it was a school. Really had no idea about it, but kind of came to terms with the junior hockey thing just not being in my family's you know their desires for me, and kind of took it to the chin. It was hard at first to kind of come to terms with that, and then I just bought into going to college, going to school. You know, realized it could be a good opportunity and something I may fall in love with, and be like, why did I ever play juniors? I should have just went to school right away. Whatever, beyond the point. So I've had my tricky experiences with this. I was in a predicament. So I applied for a school down in Florida. I won't really name the school. Just gonna leave all that stuff out of it. And I want to play hockey there. That's like obviously what any hockey player does. Wants to play. So I reached out to their coach, their recruiter, their GM, like whatever. I did all the necessary steps to get in touch, get in contact, get myself in the best position to get the tryouts, make the team, so on and so forth. And really, they just told me to show up to tryouts and good luck, see you then, which wasn't very welcoming. And I wasn't a fan of that response. And things didn't end up working out with the school, whatever. Beyond the point. But we had a fellow teammate last year who was kind of recruited, somehow, some way found through someone to go to Davenport, and he found out I was having troubles with the school I was going to down in Florida, and kind of let me know that this is an opportunity that could be extended to me. And so I reached out to like kind of like the Illinois recruiter, like kid from Illinois, plays hockey there. A guy that relates to us, recruits kids like us from Illinois, whatever, knows the area, knows the game in Illinois, can recruit kids from the state. And I really liked what he was telling me about the program, what he was saying about the coach and whatnot. So then that got me into contact with the coach. Then, after I don't know, countless phone calls, just talking about the school, applying, enrolling, stuff like that, I was then offered to verbally commit with the team, giving my word that I'm going to play for them. And, you know, after sending stats, I didn't really send in video. It wasn't really required, but stats, just personal information, grades, stuff like that. Stuff obviously needed for school and hockey. And that led to me getting a verbal commitment. I then went to the prospect camp we held this early this spring, right after the season ended for junior. And ended up signing and committing, on a piece of paper. And that was it. Like now I'm officially going to be a Panther this fall. And that was kind of the process for me. Obviously, it's going to be different for anybody. At in Acha, you can get away with not really knowing anything about a school and then falling in love with it right away and going there. But obviously, at a higher level, you're not going to be going through that kind of process. You'll be formally scouted, formally, invited to come there and check out the school, show them the best of the best. And Tyler is gone. Tyler, where'd you go,
Keep
buddy?
going, keep going, keep going. I'm just
Where'd you
trying to
go?
change the lighting a little bit. I
Oh
look like
my.
a ghost right now. It's kind of
Oh
brutal.
my. You
I'm a
do?
ghost. Yeah, I gotta
Dude, you
keep the
need some
lights up a
sun,
little
dude.
bit.
You need some sun.
That doesn't look.
But where was I? You threw
I'm
me
talking
off.
about the Acha. Nobody loves it right away, and
Yeah. All right. Restart. Re, 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 rerun it back. But, obviously, if you're playing a higher level of hockey than Tier 3 junior or Tier 2 youth, you're going to get formally recruited by schools to go check it out and, kind of officially visit the school and decide and commit. And you'll get offers and whatnot and stuff like that. But for guys like me, I can't say Tyler yet because he's not going that route yet. Um, that's the kind of process I went through. Sadly, it comes with failures, and you don't get to go exactly where you want. But sometimes, in order to play hockey, and you're not the best at what you do, you gotta take it to the chin, and just move on, and find what else you can go to. And I'm actually really happy it didn't work out in Florida because I couldn't be more pumped for this upcoming season with my future squad.
yeah, for sure. So obviously, everybody talks about being a student athlete, right? Student first, athlete second. How
Right.
important, in your opinion, is it to be a student first, to have good grades, to make sure that you're eligible to
It's
play, make sure these guys are able to
right.
rely on you, not
It's funny
academically
you
show up?
say that because like one of the leading reasons they took me on so quickly with like without even seeing me play or anything, because I had like a perfect GPA. Like quite literally why they wanted me at their program was to get guys to follow in my footsteps and get better grades. That's something our team struggled with in the past, according to my coach. A lot of guys dropping out, failing out, losing their eligibility to play due to grades. And so they want, to have somebody that can put the pen to paper and get the grades and then, perform as well. So I think it's super important, especially if you're not an incredible athlete. Being a good student can definitely make you appear as a better athlete. You got your shit together. You got you're you're a responsible human being, and coaches will see that and they'll be like, well, he's probably working hard in the classroom. He's going to work hard on ice. And you could kind of buy yourself into a program that you might not, be up to par with just because you're doing good in the classroom. And I think even if you're a great athlete, the academics just show you're a hard worker and could get you somewhere that you want to be, not necessarily deserve to be, but want to be or deserve to be. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like just being a good scholar helps you in so many ways because hockey's not the end all be all for 90% of the people that play it. It's not going to be your career, it's not going to be your main form of payment in your lifetime. So focus on kind of matters more, and that's going to be your academics. So with that, with your academics, you get a good job, you get, your profession and whatnot, but get good at hockey too. Balance it, make it work, put the effort in where it counts, school, hockey, family, friends, all that. And I honestly think you'll get better at hockey by being better in school because your work ethic will be much higher because you're working hard at something you don't want to do. So when you want to do something, you're going to work a hell of a lot harder at that too. So that's the way I put it.
Yeah, and I mean, along with the whole academic side of hockey, that's especially prevalent when it comes to NCAA D1 and D3, because these teams have like a set amount of scholarship money they're allowed to give out for sports scholarships. If you're playing NCAA D1, and for NCAA D3, they're only allowed to give out like a certain amount of. I don't know if this is true or not, but essentially for NCAA D1, you have sports scholarships, you have academic scholarships, you have like they'll give you like a limit on how many full academic or full athletic scholarships you can get per year. So if you have a guy on your team that's a genius, right? Like 4.0, like he's the smartest guy on your team. He's going to get that academic scholarship and he's not going to have to use as much of your athletic scholarship. So that way you could use the rest of that athletic scholarship on somebody who's maybe a 2.1 GPA or something like that, just
Right.
barely getting on the team with his grades. But he's a great hockey player. Like, let's say if Connor Bedard was failing out of high school or barely barely passing his classes to be on the college team, like he's
And
getting
if he
on the
didn't play
team.
in the CHL.
Right, right. Besides all that,
Right.
but it is especially worthwhile to have good grades, especially if you plan on playing NCAA, because you might be taking over a guy who has slightly worse grades, but he might be a little bit better than you. And that's simply
Exactly.
for the fact that they
Exactly.
can build their roster around you because they'll have more money to spend on these other guys to get them into college.
And you don't only represent your team, you represent your school. And
Exactly,
they don't want a bunch of failures representing their school because that makes them look horrible.
for sure.
Makes them look awful.
Yeah. So,
What are they
um,
bringing these kids in here for? People will ask, and then they look stupid because they brought in idiots that are taking away class time for smart people that want to get degrees,
that are mid
and
hockey.
it's a whole mess. So don't be
Right.
dumb and
Be a
work
good
hard.
athlete and be a good student.
Yeah, work hard in the
Moral of the
classroom.
story.
Work hard on the ice. It'll get you places. It won't be a waste. Trust me.
You'll learn some stuff from working hard in the classroom.
100%.
Oh, yeah. I know, Chris, you were kind of talking a whole bunch about your experience, so I figure I might want to share mine now. Um,
Absolutely. Because
so
you're in a different recruitment process right now.
exactly,
So explain to the viewers how that's kind of differing from me going to a school and playing and then like playing junior again. Like your past 2 seasons, you've been through this process. So walk us through like what you did before that got you success, maybe your failures, and then kind of explain to them what you're doing right now to get on a team this fall.
for sure, for sure. So,
Give them the whole
uh,
rundown, the whole spew.
I gotcha. So just real quick, I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna follow up with a question after I'm done with mine because I
Awesome.
got a quick question for it after that.
Okay.
But so growing up, I always played house. Got to high school, played for my high school team. They weren't very good. Went to go play varsity high school club in Kentucky, and from there, I I was like, okay, I want to continue to play hockey. I want to play at a competitive level. What am I gonna do? Right? There's all these leagues. There's the EHL, the NA3HL, the USPHL. Um, what am I gonna do? Like coming out of my senior year, I was like, there's just so much information. Like what? There's so much hockey, so many leagues. I have no idea how to get on one of these teams. And luckily enough for me, there was a team in Cincinnati the year after my senior year. So that would be the Cincinnati Junior Cyclones. It was their second league in the USPHL or second year in the league. Sorry, English is hard. I'm a good student, I promise, but English is not my strong suit. Um, so second year in the league, I go in. Um, didn't have a great experience. I mean, the whole notion behind like junior hockey is it's going to be ran like a pro organization, right? That's kind of what you're told when you're coming in is it's going to be ran just like if you were playing pro. It's serious. We're going in a suit everywhere, no hats, stuff like that. Um, but when I showed up in Cincy, it was not like that at all, honestly. Um, I mean, I don't want to get myself in trouble or anything by saying anything that I shouldn't, but let's just say I was not given a proper opportunity to showcase my talent. Um, and with that being said, the 4 games that I played were against it was against the 2 best teams in our league, and I did what I could. I'm sure if you look up my league prospects, you'll be like, "Oh, he's mid. He's not that good. Like, what is he still doing?" Um, but I mean, I did what I could with what I had. I tried my best, and at that point, that's really all you can ask. Like, I got in for 4 games. I'm just trying to get used to coming in. Like, this is my first year playing juniors. I don't know if I can compete. What's it going to look like? Uh, and then I get thrown to the wolves against the two hardest teams in the league. So I mean, you just got to battle through it at that point. But after that season was over, I kind of decided since he's not for me, like I don't know, because initially the coach wasn't, or he was going to be returning for the next year, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to play for him or not. So I started looking into other teams. At this point, I had a recruiting service to help me. However, I did not take full advantage of it. I was manually reaching out to coaches, finding their contact information, like just kind of sending emails when I can. The website I was using helped me get a couple coaches' information, but I wouldn't say it was overly helpful. But at the end of the day, I only really reached out to two or three teams, and one of the teams I actually messaged on social media, and that's how I got the information for their camp. And I ended up playing there this past season. That was the Chicago Crush. So I came out to a camp. They offered me a spot. I'm like, oh, Chicago, that'll be sick. I'm going out there to play hockey. Get to tell everybody I'm playing hockey in Chicago. Oh, I'm so sick. Like, I was on top of the world. Like, I get to
Yeah.
move out of my city to play hockey in a different city that's better at hockey. This is my thought process. Like, but I mean, there's two sides to every story. Again, not trying to get myself in a pickle here, but it didn't go as well as I expected. Couple bad bounces, a couple uh, questionable decisions. Um,
Testing moments.
yes, testing moments. Yes, uh, they the testing moments are really what is making me grind this year. I think I'm working especially harder this year uh, to make sure I can perform at the level I'm hoping to compete at, which is either tier three or obviously the goal is tier two, right? If I could play tier two, that'd be great, but obviously we got to be realistic. So tier three is probably what I'm looking at. This year, I've been taking a lot more taking a bigger advantage of the recruiting app that I have, and I've been reaching out to a lot of coaches. I currently have two offers on the table, um, and I'm currently just trying to figure out where is going to be the best fit for me. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar or not, but obviously the Null is tier two, and they have a NA3HL league. So the Null actually has like a combine um, at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the recruiting season, and they have probably about 80 skaters and maybe 20 goalies, if I had to guess, around there. They come in, they compete. It's a 4 game series. You just kind of showcase what you have. It's essentially just perform your best, and there's all these coaches there looking to pick up guys for their team for the season. And from that, I actually got a couple of emails, and I'm not going to say that it was beneficial for me because none of the teams directly reached out and got me to get a spot on their team, essentially, like going to main camp and been like, here's your offer. But I think it was good to get seen. It's expensive. I will say this:
Yeah.
hockey is expensive.
It's
Um,
ridiculous.
it gets more expensive if you try to play at a higher level. Um, in that, you have to pay for more
It's
combines,
tricky.
cams.
It's so
Yeah,
tricky.
so you got to
It,
pay more to get on the higher level team to play for free. So it's cheaper, but you got to pay more. It's like
if
you got the
if you're
initial
one of
investment.
us trying to make the squad coming from below, yes. But if you're coming from your AAA teams, whatever, you're paying more at the youth level. So I can see, yeah, it is it's tricky. It is
For
so
sure,
tough
for
to
sure.
say it's expensive or not because
Well,
yeah, it's got the free price tag.
yeah.
But at the same time, you probably played AAA or AA and spent almost upwards of $10,000 to $20,000 to play. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You have a point.
From a tier 3 perspective, which is what I have and I have had for the past 2 years,
Yeah,
null camps are not cheap.
no,
Um,
and they're incredibly difficult to get through.
yes. So I have been to two null camps, two null main camps this season, and then I went to the null combine. And I don't want to say explicitly how much that cost, but it was not cheap. Um,
Mm.
but I did get NA3HL offer from one of the coaches from one of the main camps that I went to. So that works out for me. Yeah. And then the other offer that I have, I actually got because my recruiting coach was asked by this coach to help him build his team for this year. So my recruiting coach was like, text him, like, see if he needs a goalie. And basically, he's like, yeah, we'd love to have you. But again, tier 3 is expensive, it's not free. Um, and I don't know why, but the further east you go, the higher the price is. I couldn't tell you why. But West
Truth,
Coast really cheap, East Coast really high, middle
truth,
is average.
truth. Guys,
So
spit.
right now, I'm kind of just trying to figure out what my options are. Obviously, we're getting close to the start of the season here. I'd say we probably have about a month and a half before the games really start going. And I'm just kind of trying to dial in and see where I'm going to land at this year. Um, Hopefully, I'll be able to crack a tier 2 roster, but again, we got to set realistic expectations. Um, but that would be the good thing. This one team that I went to the camp for, they do have a null team. So if I were to play in the NA3, there would be opportunities for advancement, opportunities for practicing with them, kind of just getting up to speed with the better guys, and getting seen by the coaches. But that's kind of how my recruiting process has gone. Um, what? Let me ask you this: what really was the convincing factor for you to play juniors? Like, what made you want to
Um,
play the first year?
so I'll kind of run it back a little bit to maybe my sophomore year of high school.
Okay,
So I'll run it back to my freshman year of high school, all the way back since I first started hockey in Pee Wees till the end of my freshman year of hockey. I loved playing hockey, but I didn't care to be good at it. You know what I mean? I wanted to be good.
for sure.
I want to be the best I could be, but I was I don't want to say content, but I was not very interested in playing at the highest levels possible. I was more just like, all right, I'm a good house league goalie. I'll play good house league. Like I'll be a good house league goalie. And then I was like, oh, I'm on the high school team. Like that's so sick. Like, I'm the coolest kid ever, dude. And yet again, just played high school hockey because I loved it. And, like practice wasn't the most serious thing ever. Didn't really like have, you know, a set game day routine or preparation for games and just didn't care to get as good as I could be to reach my ceiling. And then I had a horrible season my freshman year, like almost quit hockey, whatever. Sophomore year comes around. I trained with travel teams all spring, all summer. Um, had some things not work out with that. Whatever. I was content with going back to high school. I was going to play on the varsity team. That ended up not working out. That got curb stomped. And so I was ended up on JV. And it was almost like, okay, I've skated with some of the best travel teams in the area, skated with a team that's been in the state qualifiers. Like I'm playing at JV, one of the lower divisions in JV in the state of Illinois. Like I'm good. I could do this. I could perform. And I ended up putting up like ridiculous stats in my league. Like I was second in save percentage. Um, like not even remotely. Like I had like a 10-10 record, and I had like the best save percentage, like top 5 or 6 goals against average. Um, like ridiculous stats for losing that amount of games. And that's when I kind of realized, like, man, I got to break away from this like contentness, and I really want to play hockey more and more and more. Like everybody wants to play college hockey, everybody says it, but can they actually do it? Like probably not. So that was when I realized, like, okay, I have to actually work to play college hockey. I can't just join a team and be on it. Like it's not high school hockey, it's not house league hockey where everybody makes the team. Like you have to actually work. So after my sophomore year, I was like, I'm done. Like I'm done with high school. They put me on the back burner. I'm not playing varsity. Like, you know, ages of kids in like their school years was messing with me. I wasn't gonna make the varsity team because I wasn't as old as everybody else. So I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna play travel hockey. So I put in a lot of work over that summer, skated with a team that I specifically wanted to play for. Won't be named. Um, Skated with them all summer, went to tryouts, and the '04, I think it would have been at the time an '04-05 team for the 16 U's. Um, it was kind of small. Like it was like barely put together, like towards the end of the year or towards the end of summer, like just kind of like a smash up team to go play in what would have been the Northern Illinois Hockey League. And it wasn't formal by any means. COVID was around, whatever. And so I had to try out with the '02s and '03s. And this was a team that made the national championship for the tier two division prior. So I was going up against guys like triple, quadruple, quintuple my skill. And I ended up having a really good tryout. I only let up maybe 3 or 4 goals in the 3 tryout games. Got a lot of ice time in the tryouts too. They gave me most of the net. And I just didn't make the team. Devastated. It was like getting knocked back. It's like, what am I going to do? I can't go back to the high school team with my head between my ass. Like, that'd be horrible. They're not going to want me. I'm a traitor. I went somewhere else. And so, like, last minute, I got picked up by my old youth team, and I'll share the name because they treated me well, and I enjoyed my tenure there. I got picked up by the Jaguars, went to their tryouts. Our previous goalie coach from the season, Coach Stormy, he saw right through all my anxiety, all my nerves, all my, you know, hardship on myself, and saw the talent through all the bad mindset and whatever, and decided, I was good enough to make his team. And we were actually really good that year. I really wish we had a season. But that year, I would wake up every morning at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays because I didn't have school on Wednesdays due to COVID. And we would skate at 6 o'clock all the way to 8 o'clock, doing drills repetitively with my friends. And I got better and better and better and better to the point where like my biggest weaknesses were becoming like nothing to me. Like I could do it. I could, pushing from right to left was actually really hard for me. Disappeared. I was stopping some of the best shots I've faced like ever. And I just fell in love with the game more and more, being able to play at the higher level. And that's when it kind of clicked, like I need to play hockey after high school. And however I do that, like I need to do it. So my junior year, my senior year, and my freshman year of college was all just work, 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 work. Practice slowly became more of a competition to me, became a learning process to me. Like I would never treat practice with intensity starting my 16 year. As I became 17, 18, 19 this past season, practice was like, all right, like I have to actually lock in. I have to work. And I continuously got better and better. And so my senior year, my our goalie coach, kind of told us about this team that was in the works, and kind of a surprise for us Joliet Jaguar kids who really we didn't have the most like knowledge of junior hockey. And he told us like, hey, we're gonna have a junior team. Like, you guys want it, work for it, be good kids, and maybe you'll get on that team. And so I was like, man, like I want to be there. Like junior hockey sounds so cool. And so I got a little discouraged, being in '04 in a division where '02s and '03s were kind of the predominant goalies. So I didn't try out for the team, but I skated with them over summer, and then I practiced with them. Over fall, and ended up doing like, summer camp and stuff. And there I was. I was signed on a junior team, and that was like the biggest accomplishment I ever had, like with hockey. Signed my first ever junior deal after practicing with them my final season of 18U's. Then, skating with the team formally, not just being an extra at practice, going to the camps, whatever, talking to the coaches. And little did I know me and Tyler would be teammates later that fall. And it was just in the process of, that 16U season where I started travel and being 17, 18, like I learned about junior hockey from playing travel hockey because, that's tends to be where junior hockey players come from. And I don't know, I fell in love with the idea of playing almost like semi-pro hockey, where it's your main focus. That's number one on your priority list. Everything else comes after.
It's your
And I
job.
fell in love with that idea of just hockey, 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 and then everything else. And that was my goal. Play junior hockey. Just do it. And then once I played junior hockey and I knew I could do it, then it was play the highest level of junior hockey you can. Obviously, we're not there. Stuff obviously happens along the way, and it's a rocky road. But yeah, that's kind of like just it's upward progression for me, I guess. Like
For
my
sure.
mindset went up, my work ethic went up, my desire to be the best I can be went up, and even right now, I'm signed at the D3 level. I'm the third team at my school, but I want to be on that first team. So I'm going to work to be on that first team, and I'm going to see where it goes. Like, I always just want to be better and better and better. For myself, I don't care about the title. The title doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I play D3. I don't care. I don't care about that title. It's not for ego. I just want to be the best I can be for me, not for anybody else. Not to say, oh, I play D1, I play D2, I play D3. Just for me, because I want to know I'm doing the best I can.
Right.
So I believe that's the same with you, Ty. You don't want to play in the null because everybody's like, oh, you're in the null, you're cool. You want to play in the null because that'll prove to you could do it,
Right.
and that's what you want to do. So everybody wants
Exactly.
to do what they want to do for them.
For the most part. Everybody, there's an occasional, oh, I play
Everybody's
D1
different
hockey. Like, oh,
because,
I'm
yeah,
the
all
best
the
coach in the
girls.
world because I played D1 hockey. Like,
Yeah, I want to play D1 for all the girls and all the wrong reasons.
yeah, right.
And sadly, they're talented enough to just go there for all the wrong reasons. And then there's guys like me and you who don't have that talent, but we have the work ethic and the right reasons. But
Yeah, we have the opposite of what
man,
they do have.
yeah,
um,
right.
let's see. Where was I gonna go? Um, I think I was gonna talk mostly about the recruiting process as far as it goes outside of Tier 3 juniors. So obviously, we've talked about how USA Hockey has the development program, right? Essentially, it's NHL, AHL, and then obviously there are other three leagues. So, and then before you go there, before you get to any of those leagues, you got the CHL, the OHL, the WHL. Well, I think OHL and the WHL. Those are like the two main junior leagues, right? And those are a part
OHL,
of the CHL.
WHL, QMJHL.
And those are all a part of the
That's
CHL,
that's
yeah?
major junior. That's a part of the CHL.
Okay.
CHL is like the governing body. And then you have, your tier two
Junior B.
com- comparables here, which is like your
Oh, yeah,
BCHL,
that's eight. Junior B
your BCHL is the first one that comes to mind. AJHL, stuff like that. Really good leagues
for sure.
compared to like the NOL and the NCDC here. And then they have their junior C, which is like the KJHL and like random small minute leagues. That's
Yeah.
Canada. That's Canada's development model.
Mm-hmm.
junior.
Yeah, so obviously, if you're looking to play on one of those teams, more than likely you're going to be playing AAA or travel um, at your 16-year
AAA
year.
minimum. Yeah,
Yeah,
it gets kind of
and
wild, dude. They don't play up there.
yeah, no. Well, even in the U.S., like if you're not on a junior team by the time you're 17, like you're playing U18 AAA, you're probably not playing
You're playing a very
Tier 2.
watered down version of
Yeah,
AAA.
yeah. Yeah,
You know,
all the
you're
good prospects are already signed somewhere at that point.
right. Like you
So,
might be a sleeper, but odds are you're not going to be
you're not going to be first round
not
pick.
going to be in the best spot. Yeah, right.
But I mean, most of the guys right now in the NHL are undrafted. So, at that point, you just got to
Just work hard.
work,
But
ball out
to get back on track, the USA has a much different development model.
for sure.
So we're going to work our way back from pro to amateur. Um, so all right under pro for us is college hockey. Yeah, NCAA Division One. Everybody wants to go there and play. Like that's the best developmental league they say to get to the NHL. Like that's the most like 1-to-1 player to NHL type league. And you have NCAA D3, ACHA D1, 2, and 3, which is club, considered club. Um, that's your college. Then you have junior A. Everything's junior A in America. It's kind of weird. Junior A Tier 1, USHL. Junior A Tier 2, which is the NCDC and NAHL. And then you have Junior A Tier 3, which is your USPHL, NA3HL, and EHL. And
Yeah.
then below that, you have your AAA, AA, single A, B, C, D.
Yep. And so essentially, what we're seeing out of at least the American product for the recruitment system is most of the guys playing Tier 1 and Tier 2 are going to be playing NCAA D1. That's almost a guarantee. And then you kind of have some tricklers in Tier 2, and the best players of Tier 3, they're going to play NCAA D3 at these colleges.
Right.
But like he was saying earlier, NCAA most 1-to-1 college to pro. And that's just because they are the most developed. They've had the most time to uh, refine their craft, essentially. Because,
Right. And they're eligible to play NCAA hockey even after being drafted. So they're going to be older or seasoned guys, probably doing NHL development camps, main camps, all that stuff. So they're
well,
well developed players.
exactly. The other thing to think about, right? Most of like the development for hockey players will be complete around 21, 22. That's kind of the whole reason juniors is a thing.
Skaters.
Yes,
Skaters.
skaters. We were talking about this last week, or not last week, last episode. Goalies don't fully develop till they're 25. So I
At
don't know if you,
earliest,
yeah, I don't know if you guys
right?
follow
Like
Trav, but he didn't
that's
play pro
insane.
until he was 25. So essentially, what I'm getting at though, these guys are 21 when they get to their freshman year of college, and then they're playing for 4 years.
Well,
It
so
depends. If they're good, they're
I don't,
probably
dude.
going to
Like,
school
here's the
earlier.
thing. Like, that kind of gets me is I see so many guys that are like this past season, 05s were freshmen in college.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of D1 rosters full of 05s.
Hmm.
I think guys are getting to junior, like tier one junior at 16 and 17.
Well, yeah, it's
More
it's
and more
like
and more. And then by the time they're actually college age eligible, like they're on college teams.
yeah,
It gets kind of crazy. And then you have like Macklin Celebrini, who's an 06, like shouldn't have even been in college, was playing college hockey, like
yeah.
Division One.
It's wild. It's kind
Like,
of baffling to see the player development over time. Whereas when we were growing up, there's like, oh, these 21-year-olds are playing, and now as we're
right.
getting older, it's all going down to the 16-year-olds. Like
Like
it skipped
10-year
us.
olds are gonna be making the U show
Yeah,
soon.
literally. Like they're gonna get the special status in the dub and
Yeah,
be playing at 11.
it
Like
seems like more and more kids are doing that too, which is insane.
yeah, and it's just so wild because there's no real like coaching changes that made these players better. It's more of the
I,
I don't even know.
what's the word I'm looking for? It's
The speed of the game is really what I'm thinking. Like It's just getting
kind
so
of,
much
but
faster.
it's also like the parent indoctrination.
Yep.
Like parents have become more and more like, gotta get my kid to AAA. Like my kid's got to be the best of the best, and like they indoctrinate their kids to love the sport to the point where they're like just doing it every single day. Like Bedard would like I don't think it was indoctrination per se, but it was definitely, like the kid had a love for the game and did not want to leave his hockey bag at home. Like had to have it with him everywhere. Had to play roller, had to play street hockey, had to be on the ice. Like kid just loved the game that much, and I don't know if it's necessarily like the parents pushing them into the sport so much that they just kind of have to fall in love with it, or it's like kids just naturally being more athletic nowadays because it's a fun cool thing to do. I don't know, but I feel like there's just something like in kids minds that just make them want to be insanely good at athletics. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird.
I think the
Every
other
sport's that way too.
I think the other half of that argument is nowadays more people are able to afford
That
quality
too.
training and equipment. Um, Obviously, you don't have to be rich to be good at hockey. That's quite the opposite. Like you
But
can
it
be,
helps.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly
It
what I was
helps.
getting at. Like Connor Bedard, he has all these like low oxygen bikes and stuff like that. These training materials that are going to help him refine his craft quicker than somebody who didn't have them. And that's like coaching, especially too, right? Like no coaching is free. So if you can afford multiple coaches, like you're gonna get more development than this person that's only seeing like one coach. And I
Right.
mean, I think that's part of the reason we're developing quicker also is just because of the amount of different coaches we're getting input from, especially at the younger ages now. Because I mean, you got like two or three guys um, coaching these 12-year-olds now. So I mean, I think my dad and one other guy was coaching my 12U team when I played. So it was minimal coaching from like a goalie standpoint. And whenever, obviously, nobody likes their dad coaching. I mean, it was hard for me to learn from him. Um, no offense, but because I know he's gonna watch this. It just he, I don't know. There's something about the kid in me that didn't want to listen to him whenever he told me something. It was weird,
And
but
that's just how it is. It's kind of natural.
you don't want your parents to be right.
No, you want to be right.
Exactly.
Kids are always right.
Yep. But I think that'll probably wrap it up. This was
That
a bit of
will.
a rambler here. We were kind of just,
Yeah, like you said, it was a story time,
yeah, we
like
were
kind
story
of
timing today.
story time kind of pod. So
Well,
a
you
lot of
guys are
just
here to listen, so that I mean, we
yeah.
got
I mean,
entertainment for you.
if this was enjoyable, I guess let us know because we'll do it again. We like yapping.
Yeah, we yap a lot. But if you guys have any content suggestions, anything you want us to talk about, please let us know. Please put it in the comments.
Shoot us
Um,
questions. We'll maybe do like if we get enough questions, maybe we can get a Q&A video one
that'd
time.
be
Just do
so
a
much fun.
full hour of Q&As. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
that'd be awesome.
That'd be fun. But yeah, that was a great episode. I'm glad you came up with that idea. It was fun to talk about, giving a little bit more history and like kind of deeper into our mindset this week on like, our past experiences and our, you know, previous experiences, our current experiences, and our future experiences.
For sure.
Definitely got a little bit deeper today.
Yep. Well, join us hopefully next week if we can keep it
Stay consistent.
consistent here. For our next podcast, we might be bringing a special guest. You'll have to
We've been
check out
saying
next
this,
week to find
but
it
we're
out.
gonna we're gonna really try.
We
So
we messaged him; he was interested, and then we kind of ghosted him because we didn't do a pod for 2 weeks. So,
who's we?
who hasn't been ready for the podcast? Who hasn't been ready for the podcast in 3 weeks?
This
Three
guy
times.
ghosted him.
No, no, no,
This
no.
guy ghosted him.
No. Who was not available for the podcast? His name is the one next to mine. Yep. He's the
Who
reason we've been
ghosted the guy?
slacking. He's the reason we've been slacking. I ghosted him because he wasn't ready to go. He's not dialed for this podcast. I got him dialed though.
All right, we got to wrap it up. We're we're getting
We're
annoying.
rambling again. We're yapping.
We're getting annoying.
Thanks for joining us. See you guys hopefully next week. Peace.